For most people, a knife in the eye would be the end for them. For Chiska, just an everyday part of the job. Let's talk about the change of Stain. All right, guys, Brent here back for Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes. This time, episode 6, titled Crossing Lines. And personally, I really enjoyed this episode. This really got more in depth with one of my favorite characters in the My Hero Academia universe, Stain, or as we knew him previously as Stendhal. This individual is sense of right and wrong is not only just gray, but now it is just completely blood red. This individual was someone who wanted to emulate All Might so much so that unfortunately he was willing to cross every single line possible in order to get the job done. And the craziest thing about all this, Knuckles was actually spitting when he was talking earlier on in the episode. And he was like, the freaks who put on the masks are the most dangerous. People who pretend to be other people the minute they have some kind of face covering really is just them trying to hide what's going on with them internally. And now they're projecting out this, false character or this false narrative out there onto the world that they can pretend to be someone else so they can do these other either extraordinary or heinous things in most cases to now have happened, and they can have no part of what's going on because like we saw when Hachiko was talking with Stain earlier on in the episode when he was known as Stendhal. That the minute he took off the mask, he's like, I'm no one, I'm nothing important, I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular dude just out here, you know, helping out and being a regular member of society. The minute I put on the mask, that's when my sense of justice is the only thing I care about. I care about making sure that my neighborhood is safe. And to do so, I literally eliminate villains. It's not like I arrest them or I wait for them. We're not doing the Batman method. We're doing the full on Punisher method where it's like, hey, how come the Punisher doesn't have repeat villains? Well, because they're dead. That would be why, because they're dead. And Stain is definitely out here going out here. We saw at the start of the episode he was going after one of the Yakuza gangs, and clearly he got the job done. He was able to get at least blows on all four lieutenants, and he was able using his blood curdle quirk because the minute he licks blood from his knife that has picked up any part of material pertaining to anyone he's after, that automatically he's able to make their blood curdle. Therefore, they just seize up for up to 8 minutes, and they just kind of lay there and stay there. And if you saw My Hero Academia, the original, when he ran into Deku, we saw the whole situation that pertained and fell out because of that situation where Deku was eventually able to reason with Stain, but we're seeing the beginning stage of where he went from someone who was just kind of being a vigilante, if you want to call it that. He was an anti-hero, truthfully, to now someone because Knuckles literally just laid into him was like, look, you're just a freak with a mask. You aren't anything special. You're not a hero. You're not even a vigilante at best. You're just someone who pretends that what they believe is right. So therefore they go out and enact justice in favor of that. Which is wrong. We should not have one person be judge, jury, and executioner in any member of society, let alone someone who's got a mask on and is just kind of, well, for lack of better words, he's just a freak. So we can't have Stain out here going out and executing people. So we're just in this tough spot where he is progressing more into season's one's villain than Hachiska is, or even All for One. Because we did see All for One 2 episodes ago giving Hachiska orders, and Hachiska has been kind of pushing and manipulating the scenes, talking down to people, talking at people, just basically finding ways to push buttons, hit their trigger points, make them upset, make them feel vulnerable, make them feel like they're not um, up to the snuff of society. She's basically negging people. And if you're familiar with negging is, you basically take someone that you're really interested in, you talk poorly about something in which now they want to seek or yearn for your approval or society's approval, depending upon how you do it or how you influence it. And she's just picking on people who are weak, who've been bullied, who society hasn't treated right, and things have ultimately gone off task. And by doing this, she's been able to test out All for One's drug trigger on all of this hero society and kind of seeing what kind of undercurrent she can really and ripple effect she can cause. It's just she's just out here doing the test subject. She's like, test number one, nope. Test number two, a little bit better results, and so on and so forth until now we're here where ultimately she's trying to force stuff onto people like Kugazaki, who we saw throughout the episode while he was visiting his friend in the hospital was like, hey, would you ever go back on Trigger? Did you ever want to like fly again? And his buddy, the lizard, was just like, no, dude, I flew. I got swatted down. He's like, I don't want to be that individual anymore. And even his buddy, whose quirk is flames, which fiery individuals and flames usually tend to make bad decisions. Staring at you, Endeavor. And ultimately, they were still both like, look, we don't want anything to do with this anymore. We had our fun. It went wrong. We were arrested. We ended up in the hospital and we got beat up pretty dang good. So we're done. We're going to go on the straight and narrow. We're not going to take part in this. And so Kugizaki sees the moment, went off on his own, talked to Chisco, was like, hey, I want nothing to do with the situation. I'm out. Anything that's going on is only for me. Leave them out of this. Those two want nothing to do with what's going on. Ultimately, Stain, of course, shows up because it was a trap. Things got rapidly out of hand. The drug was forced upon Kugizaki. And of course, Stendhal Stain then went crazy, went after everyone, ultimately culminating in Crawler and Knuckles showing up to go ahead and have our face-to-face showdown, which culminated with Knuckles stepping over the line that he said the other person couldn't cross. But again, he's like, why couldn't I cross over that line? The fact that everyone believed that I would is crazy. And with one Knuckle sandwich, shattered Stain's mask, and thus shattered his psyche, leading us to this moment in time where later on we see him literally carving, using a knife, his own personal face to reflect the stain that he believes needs to be put on society because no one is actually a true hero other than All Might. Because everyone else is either in it for the money or the influence or the fame, and they're not truly actually trying to help hero society. They're just trying to make sure their bank account looks nice and that their 401ks or so on and so forth is just maxed out to the umpteenth degree, and they're not actually trying to help any of their people that they're raising up. As where All Might is genuinely trying to be the symbol of peace. He wants to help others. He wants to make society better. He wants to get rid of All for One. He's actively trying to do these things and incorporate these things, and he stands by his actions, which, no offense to the heroes, but most of them don't. Most of them are about that paycheck pretty succinctly. But it was crazy that Knuckles was the only other person. He was like, I understand you. I can see you. I can respect you. Up till this moment in time where they had their fallout, and ultimately, Stain could have ended Knuckles and Crawler and Kugizaki all in one fell swoop. But because he had his identity crisis and, well, reinvention of himself, I should say, now he's ultimately like, thank you. I appreciate everything you've done. So he gave him like, I'll give you one. And then he's went off into the darkness to further, bury himself into who he's becoming, and which Achiska is completely fine with because she's still getting all the quantitative data that she could possibly want. And we're seeing that people who've even used Trigger in the past now are starting to be like, you know what? Not really the thing for me. I'm going to kind of move off it, make better decisions for myself. So where we go from here and whether Stain becomes our true villain for season 1, or we have a bigger showdown with Hachiska in the end, much left to be seen. What is still yet to be seen is you hit that lovely subscribe button. You just listened to me ramble for about 8.5 minutes. Clearly, there's something in the content here you enjoy and love. And we'll be back tomorrow for Andor Season 2's finale on our live stream. Look forward to having that conversation with you all. And as always, friendly reminder, we may be a little bit late next week. I will be en route to Georgia for MoMoCon 2025 as a member of some of the media coverage. So we'll be hanging out there. If you're in Georgia, come see us. We'll be there all Memorial Day weekend, starting on the 22nd there till the 26th. I'm Brent for Geek Variants.